Okay, everyone, thanks for joining us. Don and Nancy Carson in Kenora, Ontario on August the 30th, 2023. This is the sort of the interesting time for all of us with one day left in our very first month of business, official, with Collect Direct. And, we want to share our thoughts a little bit about the progress this month and then talk a little bit of philosophy with you on where things are going and the excitement that's going to happen on the month basis. Because when you talk about a business that launches, most of you who have never been in business really don't have an idea. Oh, somebody says it's August 31st there. Yes, it's the day later in Australia. That's right. Thanks for that, Jackie. Can you tell us a stock tip for tomorrow on what's going to happen today? Just kidding. Anyways, the waiting room will pop up. It will pop up. One of the thoughts that I wanted to share with all of you before I bring Dale on to share his thoughts on this interesting time and all of our careers. When I say career, I want you all to understand that some of you might be dipping your toes. Some of you might be dipping your toes in a business venture that you've never done before. Somebody said to you, hey, you should take a look at this. And the truth is you've never been in business before, so you're dipping your toes. So I want to share with you, if I can, my history of dipping my toes, so that you can get your head around commitment and get your head around what it takes to be successful. My wife, Nancy, and I currently have two traditional businesses. She owns a wedding pavilion restaurant that is ranked in the top 10 in Canada. You're more than welcome to go look at it online. It's pretty cool. It's called the Gates on Roblin. It's a great facility that is an old ranch home that has this beautiful facility for weddings. It's on 7 acres on the river. And it's an interesting adventure because we didn't know anything really about that, but we knew the location would be something that we could plan for, put a story behind and market. And prior to us taking over the ownership of the property, it was in what's called receivership. And receivership is when things just don't work, right? When the money's not working properly, somebody's done something, overspent, and it doesn't work. There wasn't the real cash to make things happen for the venture. So it goes into receivership. So unfortunately for those folks, and fortunately for the timing of an ex-partner of mine, we took it out of receivership, and my wife went on to be the entrepreneur in the business side of the operation, and my partner and I own the real estate. So why do I share that with you? Because it was a dream that we had back many, many years before that it's possible to, with the right marketing and the right story, to create something that could be incredibly special. So all these years later, I just remember being in the back property on Mother's Day at that facility with 1,100 people going to our brunch, our Mother's Day brunch, and seeing people taking pictures in the yard and around the waterfall, and me having a tear, actually imagining that those pictures will be on a fireplace just like behind us one day, where people would look at that beautiful memory and think about that history. And as much as I won't be in that picture, I'll know we had a piece of that picture. We had a piece of that connection to that moment that they share from that past to their future. I want you to understand that, because it took drive and commitment and vision to take something that failed and turned it into something that today is a very successful adventure. Even after the 2 shutdown years, it's busier than it's ever been. So why do I tell that to you? Because when you look at business, you have to be committed, and you have to understand that it's not anything we do in business. Pardon me if anybody is not muted themselves, if you don't mind. I just haven't muted everybody this time. So just look in your little square there and mute yourself if you didn't know who that is. There's one here that's not muted. I see. So let me talk about my other business. So during the shutdown times, I only use that as an expression because we all know what I'm referring to, but no point bringing that up right now. I want you to understand that it was scary. I had X number of $1 million worth of inventory and nobody was coming in the door. In fact, I had all of this overhead once again. I had taxes to pay, rent, leases to commit to. I had leases on vehicles. I had commitment for bank loans and lines of credits, and all this inventory that were on terms to be able to pay on what's called a booking a program where you pay 30, 60, 90 days. But guess what? Nobody's coming in the door, right? Nobody's showing up. So once again, it's risk. And you think about what I had to do when my staff were saying, I'm not coming in today because they're telling me to stay away. And I'm in a big 12,000 square foot facility by myself, answering the phone saying, I'm not giving up. I am not letting down. I am not going to let this beat me. And we ended up having 2 record years during that time. I'm not bragging. I'm telling you, it's called commitment. It's called perseverance. And it's called being in business means you have no quit attitude. Well, we are partnered in this adventure with a gentleman by the name of Dave Jordan, who was a dyslexic young man, had a grade 7, grade 8 education, had a lot of challenges when you can't read and write to be successful. And he ended up leaving school and went off and told his mom, I'm doing this. And she said, Dave, are you sure? And he did. And all these years later, he's considered one of the most successful collectors of products in the world. He's had a successful network marketing venture that went to $400 million that he sold. He's been a top earner in this industry. He's taught himself how to read and write. And all of those things mean commitment. And it means that you just have to say this, I will not say no attitude. Why am I telling you these stories tonight? Because you folks don't have to put up with all of those risks. You don't have to say, I'm going to invest millions and millions of dollars into warehouses that I have to pay rent. You folks aren't hiring people right now before the revenue ramps up to get them trained and up and running beforehand, so that when the numbers turn on for our shopping cart, they're ready to answer your questions properly. The same people that, I have some extra experience that I'm going to be teaching a few things from my perspective to help them answer your questions more and more. I'm not a corporate guy. I'm an independent representative. My wife and I are partnered with all of you, but we also recognize an opportunity that we've never, ever had our hands around ever before in our careers. Yes, we've had some success. Yes, we've sold some things for millions of dollars on the New York to a company on the New York Stock Exchange. Again, not to brag, to tell you we didn't start that way. We sold it after we built it that way. Why am I sharing all this? Because today is an important day. It's one day before our very first month in business. Our budgeted numbers we wanted to hit, we've accomplished. Our service team is answering questions and responding because you folks are telling me that. You're telling me I'm really happy with X, Y, and Z person that's responding to me now within 24 hours. I personally still have a chance to go into the admin and look at how many support tickets are actually open. And I only saw 15. 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, there was 100. Now they're responding to them quicker. And I know you all know what I'm saying. It's a commitment on Dave's part to have the staff that can do what he vision has in store for all of us. And that vision is to be a company that is a category creator, that is here to stay, debt-free day one, and can open the eyes and the dreaming of so many people. Now, folks, this is a business. And so my introduction to our call tonight was to say, we understand risk and we've been through it. And I want my wife to share, if she can, just her own experience of watching us being married now 26 years, 2 beautiful kids, a 24-year-old and a 22-year-old. And to watch them now venture out and just come back from Florida, our daughter and her boyfriend. It was scary. That was the first time she'd ever gone off on her own on a plane. But we had friends in Florida that said, give her our number. Give her our number. If anything happens, tell her to call us. Folks, these are not family members. These are business associates like yourselves that said, Don, we're here. We're friends. We're colleagues. And that's this industry. That's this home-based business world. Everybody has a, I don't need anything from you attitude. They have an attitude that says, what can we do to say we're in it to win it, but we're going to get a teamwork to dream work attitude. Nancy, I mean, I've just thrown a lot out there. You've got a beautiful blue hat on. You go ahead and share.
So specific when he says these things. I always like to say, oh, thank you so much, Don, for bringing that up. But what I would like to talk about is, anyways, I wasn't as scared as probably Don was. Something about fathers and daughters with her going on her first trip when she was in Florida. I find that this is the type of industry that brings servant leaders to the table. And so you get a lot of people that have a like-minded thought pattern of helping each other out. And it just seems to come naturally that it's an instinctual thing for people to say, if your daughter's going to be in the area, if she has any hiccups, by all means, throw her our number. That's part of the fact and the reason why I love this industry, because friends become family. It's incredible. And so I'm really looking forward to building more family relationships with everybody here.
So as we head to the end of August, it's our setup month. And so for many of you, you've had some great experiences. Some of you have hit the first superstar level. Some of you are wondering why you're not there quite yet. And there's some tweaks that are going to happen that'll help you get there. But with that said, we have one more day. So for some of you, I just want to talk to those of you that are already have got a $9.98 yearly membership. That's what it is. To be in business with a partner, Dave Jordan, who has multi-millions of dollars of collectibles that he's opening up in a huge shopping mall cart that allows you to point, click, and share sometime in the month of September. It could be as early as the 5th. It could be the 10th. It could be the 15th, but it's going to happen. And why is it each of those dates? Because the coding for all of that, the warehouse locations for all of that is being set up. And when they feel comfortable and the servant leaders of staff that he has that says, Dave, we're ready, he's going to push the button. And all that button means is you're collecting your collectible website that you've seen, many of you, the button will be on and you can add it to a cart and build whatever you want. That's what's happening starting in September. The day is all about the staff saying we're ready, because we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So August, we start off trying to understand how this was going to flow. Are we perfect? No. Are we shipping product to Australia? Folks, just so you understand that the process of shipping overseas and in Canada is a little different than in the US, and they've had to work out some new relationships to make this happen properly. And I understand that those final relationships were solved, and that's about to happen now. Have they shipped out the door? I can't tell you if any of them have shipped out the door. I just know that our Australia partners will be getting the product very shortly. It is going to go out. Will it come by FedEx? Possibly FedEx and others that have made relationships with. But we also learned just recently that the company in Canada and Australia are not collecting the taxes for that country, so that you're paying for it as the product gets delivered into that country. That's a little different than I've seen in the past, but will it be what we do in the future? No, we will have that set up. So it's, again, a setup month. So we're all in this to win it, and we're all in it together. So we're not completely ready for you to say we are a 10 out of 10, but folks, we're getting closer and closer. So I want to bring somebody who's had a ton of experience, and let me just move this out of the way if I can, to be in the industry, Dale Calvert. So Dale, you and I have become business partners here in this adventure. We work closely together in the Collect Direct world, but your history is something that I want to share with what I just shared, and let you chat a little bit about that business risk that there's out there, and how for $10 you can be in business with a man that has what he has and he's offering to the world. And just from your perspective, how powerful this is. You visited the place, so you understand what he's doing. So go right ahead, my friend. I think you're muted. Sorry. I might have muted you by accident. Oh, now you've turned your camera off. Can I hear you?
Yeah, can you see me?
There we go. You're perfect.
Okay.
There.
Yeah. We had a team powwow earlier tonight, and I said on that call, I said, look, if it costs $9,998 to become a Collect Direct business member, it would be the best deal in the world. If it was $9,998. So it's really kind of hard sometimes for people to wrap their mind around the fact that for $9.98, I have access to millions of dollars in collectibles that I have zero investment in myself, but can take to the marketplace, a hungry marketplace, and create profits. It's beyond anything that I have ever seen from that perspective. I mean, we're not talking about, a consumable product that somebody can order a batch of 240 cans of something and start a network marketing company. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a $450 billion niche that we have the opportunity to tap into. So from a business perspective, I've always said that network marketing is the greatest opportunity in the world to give average people with above average desire the chance to truly create financial independence over a period of time not next month, not next year, but over a 3 to 5 year period, it's unbelievable what can be accomplished for people.
So Dale, when we talked about this topic tonight, one of the things I've shared for many years is that my home run effort I've had in business took me 8 years of losing money to break even. It wasn't until I'd gone through 2 relationships with 2 people that left me because they didn't see what I was doing and they didn't believe I would ever do what I said I could do. And they lost the vision that I was going to be able to do it. They left me. All of that time, I kept dreaming and had a vision that I would be able to do what I ended up doing. 8 years later, after thousands and thousands of dollars worth of effort, and time is money, be honest, Dale, time is money. And
Absolutely.
I was not paying myself for any of that time by hours. So the truth of the matter is the amount of effort I put in while losing money to break even is in probably the millions of loss, if you wanted to really count it. But I never thought of it that way. I thought of it about a dream, a vision, and a commitment. And over 8 years, guess what? I then went on and sold that company 22 years later for millions of dollars. So after 30 years, I did what I said I would do at day one. And then you have us here for, as you just said, $10, and you're buying something for $278, many of you that bought the sample program, and you get this initial package, which, by the way, is 100% tax deductible because it's a business setup cost. And some of you are looking at that going, okay, well, I didn't get a $1,700 comic book. Well, that's not the point. The point is you have to start somewhere with a vision and make a commitment. So Dale, that story you've told on stage around the world in front of thousands of people about commitment and your vision of what it takes to be successful. Maybe you can share that a little bit with all of us here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I got involved in the industry, it's like, why are you doing this, Dale? And that's what I try to communicate to everybody. Until you know why, the how doesn't matter. And you've got to figure out, what do you want? Well, for me, when I started, it's like, I want to make $100,000 a year, never have a boss. And I want to take my kids to Hawaii, and I want to know how it would feel to drive a brand new car. Now, this was in 1980. And it's okay, Dale, how bad do you want it? Well, what are you going to give up? I mean, you got to find some time somewhere. You're working a full-time job. And I was a softball warrior. I loved to play softball. I played on 3 different teams, and I gave it up because I needed to spend that time sitting down, talking to prospects, doing my one-on-ones. And I just had to give up a lot because, but was it worth it? No. My softball buddies and my family and everybody said, Dale, you're crazy. You love it. Why would you give it up? Because I am going to get out of here. And I'm going to be able to spend the rest of my life, being my own boss, not having to deal with punching a time clock. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. And it was a long, hard road. I mean, I wanted to quit every day my first 3 years. Every day I wanted to quit. But what are my options? Do I really want to spend 40 years in this environment? No. So it took me 5 years to eventually get out of IBM. It took me 10 years to make $92,000 a year. But my 11th year jumped to 252,000. My next year it jumped to 1.1 million because now I'm realizing how to develop a team and help people progress and come down the road. And then the next year was 3.3 million. And I retired from building teams when I was 39. I made over $10 million my last 5 years. And I'm just going to coast, and I'm going to do other things. So if you told me when I started, Dale, you're going to make millions of dollars, travel the world, have more friends than you can imagine, I couldn't have wrapped my brain around it. So I think people need to start with, what can you believe, what your mind can believe you can achieve. And once you get to that point, you'll be able to see further down the road. Once you get to that next point, you'll be able to see further down the road. And that's kind of how this works. I mean, you were a school teacher when you started, and I think about you, and it's like, okay, a school teacher, you probably didn't have the vision of being able to create the type of businesses you've been able to create when you started. And I've heard you say you started out of the trunk of your car. I love that story. We all travel the same road, but you have to have a vision of what you've got your hands on here. And I'm convinced that most people don't. They think this is another deal. And it's so different from anything that has ever existed in this industry. It just is. I told someone today, I said, this is the number one long term, not next week, but long term residual income program in existence. And I believe down the road, when you ask a collector, have you heard of Collect Direct? It will be just like asking a collector today, have you ever heard of eBay? Because every collector's heard of eBay. And there's be a time in the near future when every collector will have heard of Collect Direct. And who's going to tell them about it? It's the people that are here right now.
So Dale, when you talk
Gives
about
me chills.
that, the feels there, like just knowing you're in the right place at the right time, and you and I have had those heart to hearts, and having the ability to just have seen behind the curtain. My wife likes to, I don't know the term my daughter uses, pop tags. You like to go thrifting or go to, you look at a fashion mall and they have a $300 item, and you can go find that same item in a store for $30. And then person that paid 300,
I love a deal.
she loves a deal. but she says, the person that paid 300 doesn't really want to know that you paid 30, right? And the person that paid 30 shouldn't really tell a person that paid 300 that they paid 30. Now, why am I sharing that with you? Because in the collectible space, you'll find that these items go up and down. There's people that pay different prices all over the globe. There is no standard, this is worth X, Y, or Z. It's a marketing, it's a decision, it's the person that tells the best story. It's also something I have to say every time we do these. I'm not guaranteeing you, Dale's not guaranteeing you ever you'll make a penny here with Collect Direct. It comes down to you and the vision and the dream you have and why you're here to determine what you really want from it. It's important for us to say that because we want you all to know that Dave is not guaranteeing you're going to get the best deal of collectible. He's certainly not. And those of you that say, I got this with a home run item in there that's worth X, Y, or Z, hey, that's fine. But when you're picking, come in September, what you want and add your shopping cart and ship it wherever you want it to go, the gift giver in you is where I get excited. Because I was with a guy today on the phone that is currently very successful, a top earner in the industry, who's looking very carefully and closely. And I'm not pushing him to come here, but I'll tell you what he told me today. Don, he said to me, because I told him this, I said, there's 200 million US citizens that collect something. And I've been told it's around $6,000 of some amount of those somethings: cups, hats, signs, pictures, hockey cards, whatever, Barbie dolls. He says to me, Don, you're right. There is no selling here. It's just open the vault to the wants and watch people go and find the things that they've been looking for and didn't think they could find. That's what excited you and I, Dale, when we said, let's do this together. Dale, I mean, there's just a desire here. You were a kid in a candy store when you went and saw Dave's warehouses. Talk a little bit about that for a second, if you mind.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable, really. I mean, I expected it to be huge, but it just literally blew my mind. And I think the thing that it's like the vision that somebody had to have. I mean, who would have thought, for many years that one day I'm going to start a network marketing company, direct sales in the collectibles market, and had a spouse that said, okay, you do whatever you want to do. You just cover, as long as we cover the bills and we're good here, you can spend whatever you want to spend. And to think that he's done that and had that much inventory, it literally blew my mind. And it's a story that if I hadn't seen it, it's hard for people to really wrap their minds around it. I mean, it really is. So y- running out of product is something that was a concern for me until I went there. And when I came home, I told my wife, I said, imagine the largest collection you've ever seen in your life. Now multiply that times 10. I said, that's what I just witnessed. That's what I just saw. I said, if he never bought anything else, he would have enough inventory to last for years, with a standard run rate in this profession. So I mean, yeah, that's not even an issue for me at this point. And I'm excited because I saw everything, not just sports cards, not just Barbie dolls or Beanie Baby. I mean, everything, every type of collectible a person can imagine.
So, folks, one of the things that you should all know about Dave, and then I'm going to let Nancy chime in here. I think you want to say something, is he's not an expert on every area of the collectible space, but he is an expert on what's value to buy. And then what we do is we mine it, because he's buying truckloads as we speak, rolling in those warehouses that they're mining. I mean, when I was last there, Nancy and I are going there later in September or the early part of September, and there's going to be that many more containers outside of the warehouses being ready to mine. When we say mining, that's what's on our website. It's the mining of those hundreds of thousands of individual items that there is already 8,000 ready to go and more coming by the time the shopping cart opens. I can tell you that much. And those items have SKUs behind them of stock. And when the stock's gone, that item's gone, and they rotate new ones in there. Constant flow of a shopping mall inventory. Doors open for you to shop in. Nancy, I mean, you were writing something down, so I know you got something you want to share.
I've just heard, like, in listening to the conversations and stuff, and some people are really wrapped up in the value of things, how much something's worth, and perceived value. And I love that story. And feel free, this is not my story. Almost all of the stories that you want to know about anything that move us forward in network marketing have been out there for a long time. But there was a grandfather that had a 200-year-old watch, and he was going to give it to his grandson. And he said, but first, I want you to do something for me. I want you to take it down to the jewelry store and find out how much they're going to give you for that watch. And he takes it down to the jewelry store, and they said, well, it's an old watch and it's kind of worn out. And so they said it's worth about $150. He says, now go to a pawn store. And he says, and tell me how much that watch is worth. And he says, well, the pawn shop guy said, it's only worth $10 because it's a really old watch. And he says, now take that watch to a museum. And he takes it to the museum, and the curator is absolutely fascinated, never seen a watch like this before, offers him $500,000 for the watch immediately because it is so precious and so rare. And the grandfather teaches his grandson a lesson about value. And value can be perceived by those that want it. And value can be perceived by those that desire it. And not everybody understands the value of things. And I think some people are a little too caught up on values of things that can be precious to others. And so it's really, really important when you're in the collectibles department and the collectibles platform to know who and what you're talking about and with whom you're talking to.
Exactly.
And so I just wanted to impress upon people. It's a great story. I've also heard people talk about it in the sense of water, if you're just talking about it in current age. I don't know about you, but if you've ever bought a bottle of water at a grocery store, and then you go and you buy that same bottle of water at a movie, and then you buy that same bottle of water at an airport, I can guarantee you that same bottle of water costs a difference of $2, $5, $10, and it's just the place that you're getting it from. So I just think that values sometimes can be a little too literal for people, and in a collectibles field, things are precious to many.
Yeah, and remember, you're in business, so everything that you're buying for your own use to use as your display items is a tax-deductible expense, assuming your laws in your market allow you to do that. I'm not telling you that it's going to be the same everywhere in the world, but you'll want to get with an accounting person and say, what am I allowed to keep for myself as a display item that I could use as a deductible expense, depreciate it in a sense. And then who knows what happens with it from a time capsule going forward. Dale, this is a great topic for people to understand philosophy, isn't it? Because, you know, we've been successful. You've been successful. You've motivated a lot of people. We've motivated a lot of people. What it really comes down to is, what do you want to do to get out of your own way to be successful here? And you share all the time, you got to know why. You got to know why you want to do this. So take it a little bit further on that line there, my friend.
Yeah, and once you decide what you want, then you have to mentally decide, okay, how much time am I going to spend, and what am I going to do with that time? Because you have to spend time on income generating activities. I mean, you can waste a lot of time fooling yourself thinking you're building a business, but you've got to get into the marketplace. You've got to get in front of potential customers, potential team members. Time management's the best kept secret of the rich, Jim Rohn said. And you've got to be able to say, okay, this is my rhythm. And once you get into a rhythm with this business, and you're really in a rhythm, and you know, it's like, I go back to my first company. It was like Monday night was my opportunity overview. Tuesday night, I scheduled 2 appointments when I got off work. I got off work at 4:18. I usually had an appointment scheduled between 6 and 6:30, and one between 8 and 8:30, where I was meeting people in a restaurant or around somebody's kitchen table. I did that every Tuesday, every Thursday. I did 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Thursday, and Saturday I would schedule 4 one-on-one appointments every Saturday. I knew if I could schedule 8 a week, I could schedule, that was a little over, it was 32 a month. I would complete half of them. And if I could get in front of 15 people, I knew I would enroll 5. And I knew if I enrolled 5 people a month, I could control my financial destiny in this profession. And I've taught 5 a month ever since that time, because there's no challenge you have in this business that adding 5 new customers or team members won't fix. There's none that you, and it's just a rhythm and a routine, a rhythm and a routine, a rhythm and a routine. And, you know, and I 3 hours one way and got stood up at a person's house and driven all the way home, and get home at 2 or 3 in the morning, and got to get up at 6 o'clock and be at my job. I've done that many times, but it's, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? And if you want it, there's no business model in the world that will give you what this business model will provide you from a lifestyle standpoint. There's just not. And we're going to have so much fun with this. I mean, once, you know, 3 or 4 years from now, it's like I was telling my team, I said, okay, we're all going to go to Boston to the Red Sox game and hand out some baseball cards and material. But we're going to go to Boston for the weekend, and we're going to go see the big green monster. And we can have these little mini trips with teams and go to sporting events. I mean, this can be a phenomenal fun business, you know, once we, especially after we become a household name.
Yeah. And, you know, Dale, as you've said all along, this is not a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month adventure. And for many of you, you've been here only for 30 days. And I've heard people say, hey, I started and I got my money back. I'm doing great. This is good. I'm already in the positive. Well, that's not for everybody. Lots of you are going to take 6 months. Lots of you might take a year. But remember the stories of the successful people. You start, but you don't quit, and you move forward. And you have to have what the end result's going to be in your mind, which is, I will not get stopped until I get to the top of that mountain, if that's what you want to do. So the night's call is a little bit about motivation and vision, but it's also to let you know that you've got partners around this company that have your backs right now, because we're going to constantly be giving you things that get you thinking positively. But here's a couple of things for you to think about positively. When that shopping cart opens, I challenge you to use the analogies that Nancy's used, Dale's used, and I've used, that the price on that shopping cart doesn't matter. It's who are you going to point, click, and share that to? Because if they want it, they're going to buy it. And if they buy it, you're going to get paid. And if your team is doing the same thing, the volume will go up and you'll watch the cycles happen in our compensation plan. And tonight's not about the compensation plan other than this point. Wait until you understand in your hearts what the dugout really will do for you. Tonight's not for me to go into it in detail, but the dugout is a primary part of our plan for all of you to understand at some point in the future that is going to absolutely explode your business. And I say that with all sincerity, that it might make you an extra $5, $10, but there might be some of you that can go off and hit that home run, understanding what the dugout is. So get ready as we launch that part of our program. Dale, you know a little bit, but when you hear more about it, and Dale, we were on today with the coders and all the things that are going to happen with the dugout. Yes, it's going to be exciting. It's a unique part of our shopping program for the folks that want to really build a big business on the network side. We'll teach you that. I only want to give you that information tonight because as we move forward, there's more and more pieces of the puzzle being put in place. Dave Jordan has a vision for this to be what he believes is a legacy to make this industry great again. And there are a lot of industry people out here in this company right now that are looking at it and they're wondering if it's real. Well, Dale and others have seen it. It's real. This is the real deal. It's debt-free. And the products are going to be so available for people to want around the globe that you can't not point, click, and share to the people around you. Dale, final thoughts before I share just a couple more thoughts on what's coming here. Go ahead, Nancy, if you have anything too.
No, I'm just super excited. I know it's late tonight, guys, and I can hear in Don's voice and Dale's voice that they're really looking forward to the fun times. It's just really hard to be enthusiastic when you're sleepy.
Exactly. That's true.
Dale? No, it's really just stop and ask yourself, where do I want to be, in 3 to 5 years? Could this vehicle, could it provide me? So there's been so many people that have got involved in network marketing. They had a dream, they had a go. It didn't work out for whatever reason. And what happens is they're afraid to dream again. They really are afraid to dream again. And I understand that. When I left the Shackley Corporation, I said, I'm never joining this ever again. I'm done. And it took an act of God really to get me back into the profession. And it's taken me a while, and it takes most people a while to just believe one more time. And I believe that if you believe one more time and you take the action, knowledge and dreams without activity means nothing. But if you have the dream and you do the activity and you do it consistently, because of this time and place in history, you have an opportunity that you probably didn't have when you were involved with XYZ company. When I was with Shackley, it was a 25-year-old company when I got there. Okay, a lot of people had heard of it. Nobody's heard of Collect Direct. When it becomes a household name to collectors, just like eBay, you're either going to look back and say, man, I am glad I did, or you're going to be saying, I can't believe I let that slip through my hands. And that would scare me to death, to think I was here at this time and place. I had it right in the palm of my hand, but I didn't take action. I didn't get serious. I didn't get focused, and I let it pass me by. That scares me for people. It really does.
Well, Dale, as always, I just enjoyed talking with you, but I'm glad you jumped on and shared with us tonight. Folks, just so you get your heads around what's happening, our shopping cart is going to take our business to the next level. It opens in September. Our sample program continues a little longer. Will it be an ongoing program? Hard to say. Right now, it's what we do just to get people a chance to get our system and our shipping and so on. But just stay tuned. The app will be live when we go into our October 26th, 27th, 28th event. That's already ready, but we're trying to control our launching of all of our systems, because when the app comes live, you're going to be able to basically track the people that are looking at the shopping items and know if they're interested or not from the app. There's so much technology getting put into that, get ready. And guess what that app costs you, folks? It's part of your one-time a year $9.98 membership. I've never seen anything like this. This company is giving you websites that you get to share with your own name next to it, that's linked to a shopping cart that's connected to your bank account. You decide where you want the money to go. There's 2 sites. There's a 3rd magazine site that's going to allow you to lead capture, so you can call people back and say, hey, oh, you're really interested? Let me send you a couple of videos. Folks, there's so much coming down the pipe. So what I want to do now is just say Saturday at 11. The plan is to have Dave on. He's now got a date with his mother in Grand Forks. So he's saying yes and no, depending, but I will be here with you at 11 on Saturday with guests from the corporate staff or not. But either way, we were planning for Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time. The October 26th, 27th event and 8th is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the Grand Falls Casino. Right at this time, we invite all of you to start thinking about that. We're going to show you how to get the Superstar Collector to qualify for that event. It will have no entry charge for those of you that are sample purchasers and those of you that are part of our founding team for the month of August and September. And he's going to provide a dinner and some prizes and so on. There's so many things coming down the pipeline. Okay. But let's just finish off with this. Some questions. No hands are up, so I don't see any other hands.
I have a question.
Don,
Yeah, go
I just
ahead.
want to say, hey, I like Nancy's hat. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Dale.
Is it Superstar Collector or Home Run Collector for Sioux Falls?
Superstar Collector at this point. But there
Yes,
are some people that are thinking they should be qualified as a home run collector right now, or I mean, as a superstar collector. And the system is still coded to say you need 2 home run collectors, one on your left and one on your right, to qualify as a superstar. To be a home run collector under the system that we've coded before the changes that are happening, you would have to have had one on your left, one on your right. The truth of the matter is the way we're coding it going forward and the way it's going to be coded is you just needed to have 400 group volume on your left that you created and 400 group volume on your right that you've created, and you will elevate to a superstar collector. That is the simple superstar collector path. If you were to bring 2 sample packs on your left and 2 sample packs on your right, you should be a superstar collector. It's not coded exactly like that this second. In our comp plan document today, it still shows you need 2 home run collectors to be a superstar. That is being removed. And that is in the effort of being removed. And once it gets removed, you'll see people that have done that move to the superstar collector level. So Dale, it is a little bit of a glitch in our coding still, but they are, you know what, here's the problem. And I'll be honest with all of you. My brain, Dave's brain, we're squirrels. And Joyce has brought us squirrel t-shirts, you know, so we love all these ideas. And before you know it, we run a bunch of ideas in marketing. And the coders are saying, stop it, stop it, stop it, you know? And so they are definitely in the process of fixing all the little things that are needed. But the one in there that's, oh, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed that the colors, yeah, coded, but you can see your ranks now. You're not, none of you are crown diamonds anymore, right? In your scorecard. And when you look at your little item now, you'll see what rank you actually are at. It actually is color coded properly. That's just been fixed. Okay. So they're slowly but surely, every item on our list is getting fixed. So Dale, I hope that answered your question, but ideally it's 2 currently sample packages on your left or 400 group QV and 400 group QV on your right, and 80 personal volume that you've generated throughout your team to qualify as a superstar collector. So it's not quite coded right yet, but it will be advanced by the time we get further into, you know, September, and those will adjust it based on backdating and so on. So it is happening.
Awesome. Awesome.
Good. Anybody else? Go
Hey,
ahead.
Don.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to say is, you know, the coders and Dave and everybody, they're doing a absolute knockout job, because I've worked with software companies where I've been beta tester on like 3 different ones. One of them was Google. And I mean, the problems that I saw with Google, and I mean, they've got a whole building full of, you know, coders and everything. And I mean, it was 6 months or better of problems that had to be resolved before one of the ones I did was the Google Maps. And I mean, it was like, you know, you weren't even allowed to share that you were even working on the program because they had so many problems.
Yeah. And you know what? I think you bring up a great example, to be honestly. Let's just think about it this way. we're working while we're getting started. We're not holding back until we're perfect. You all told us, wait till you're ready to start, and we did. But now we all told you we're in the growth phase together in August, September, and October 26th, 7th, and 8th, we feel we will be where we need to be to truly say, let's go get 2024. That's our goal together. So
well, and any traditional business, I got to tell you guys, when we opened our restaurant, from the outside, we did our soft opening, and everybody that was sitting down said, I had a fabulous meal, and that was fantastic. And then you go into the back and you talk to your guys and you're going, you guys did a fantastic job. And they're going, oh my God, everything went wrong. The dishwasher broke down. We hauled the water from this place to that place, and we had to do this and we had to do that. And no business comes without ups and downs and hiccups. None, not one business. Or we didn't have butter, or the meat didn't come, or this didn't come. And like, you just fly. And that's the best business people, or the people that can just turn on a dime and make it work. And that's what we're doing here. We're building something that is going to be unbelievable for us for going forward into the future. And there might be a little hiccup or a bump, but think of the smooth sailing when all of those hiccups and bumps are moved out.
and the shopping cart is the key to our business in the long run. So it's not even opened yet. So we're fixing everything until the shopping cart goes and we're live. Buck, you've got a question. I see your hand up.
Oh, I think Buck was already there.
Done muted here.
I think you muted yourself again.
I just really got a comment, Don. I've been in network marketing for a long time, and Dale brought up a memory tonight with his Zoom that we did. Back in the day, we had to put a lot of windshield time in to meet and greet people. And now what we have available with this company, the tools that we already have and the tools that we got coming, we can really do this from home and not leave the house. And this is a massive opportunity. And I've never seen this in my career, to have this good of an opportunity. But people have got to get plugged in. If your cell phone is not plugged in once a day and the battery dies, you're not going to be able to use your cell phone. This company is exactly the same way, with the tools and the training that Dale's got, the training that you're doing. All people got to do is get plugged in, because you can't get turned on if you don't get plugged in.
I
And
agree.
they got to get plugged in. If they do that, follow Dale's example, follow Dale's training, follow your training. There is no reason in the world that people can't be successful with this company.
And we haven't even started, Buck.
Five team members a month and 20 customers is going to be fairly easy to do, but you got to get out of your comfort zone and go do it.
I agree with you. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Jackie, you're the last person, and then we're going to sign off. Go right ahead.
Thanks, Don. Thanks, Nancy. And thanks so much to Dave and Joyce as well. I just want to really just add to it. We had a team call before this, and I had a little bit of a laugh because somebody made mention about, dipping your feet into it. And I said, it's like a cat putting its paw into water and you don't like it, but they keep on putting their paw in there anyway. Just jump in, get wet, shake it off, learn as you go. And, the big thing being is that it's so flexible and it's so versatile that it leads into any business space with the way that it's been created. And the opportunities are just endless. And I just really want to thank each and every one of you for what you're putting into it, because I've never been able to speak to as many people as what we have, and the team themselves for saying the same thing in regards to this is different. This is exciting, because there's something in there for everybody. And the only thing that's going to stop you is your own mind and your own thoughts. So if you start thinking, globally, that anything is possible, we have it all. And it's just amazing. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome, Jackie. And Dale, you are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Nancy and I love the fact that we partnered with you here to work on this adventure. And we're all in the right place, folks. Just get ready for the new information when the shopping cart opens and the app to come And I hope many of you are going to be able to, in this group and the others that'll watch this recording, can join us in Sioux Falls on October 26th, 7th, and 8th for our very first event. And then that'll lead to a regional, hopefully in Canada, then Australia, and then a national convention in Las Vegas. That's our plan for the next 12 months. So more to come on all that, but we'll see you on Saturday at 11, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Have a great rest of your night. And next week, I promise you, we're sticking to the 8 o'clock Central Time. And that's what the go for time is. It's just these 2 last weeks kind of gone off on us. So thanks, everyone. And I'm going to take the recording
Thanks
and
very much.
shut her off. Take care.